whether it's weekly or monthly or annually? Like, how much does this food truck business tend to pull in?
That's a good question. So the for us, right? You know what I'm saying? For us, we do well. Like we do anywhere between 7 to 10, right? You know what I'm saying? So we do about seven. We do about seven a week, which is good. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not. We didn't start there. You know what I'm saying? We started out about 700 a week, okay? Right. And so we've had to, we've had to gradually kind of, just grow and evolve, right? And continue to just put in the hard work, man.
Sup, everyone? This Elijah with the Sawduster Society coming at you with another show. This show is so action packed, I gotta be honest with y'all. Mainly because it's gonna involve two passions of mine and technically two brands. Those being finance, finance, business, money, hustling. I'll just put all that under the category of hustling and health and wellness. And the main reason that those two themes, I'll say, will be discussed in this show is because of the guests that we have on. There's a popular food truck that I've been going to for a few months now called Hopeboy's Kitchen. You'll find out exactly why it's called that later. But it's a vegan food truck, and the owner has been very successful. Our guest today is actually the owner of Homeboy's Kitchen, Chef Rico. Chef Rico is just a brother that loves to cook vegetables and share them with the world. After going vegan over 7 years ago, he discovered there were numerous health benefits to a vegan slash plant based lifestyle. He, like many other African Americans, struggled with high blood pressure, and as a result of intaking more fruits and vegetables, he reversed his hypertension. As a result of him experiencing the enormous benefits from a vegan lifestyle, he decided as a self taught chef that he'd love to share these same benefits with his own people. Therefore, Hope Boy's Kitchen was established in May of 2020. For those of y'all that are paying attention, that's during the pandemic. I want that to sink in for a sec. This is where he serves vegan dishes in the southern section of Dallas because his motto is "My people deserve healthy options." That's his bio. And we're going to go ahead and hop into the content of the show. Get ready for a finance slash business slash hustle slash health and wellness discussion because a lot of gems will drop in this one show alone. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Side Hustlers Society podcast, the place where you can find out more about the hustles that are best for you. And of course, make more money in the process. Elijah has been in the gig economy and freelance space for over 8 years and has done over 4,000 deliveries on Uber Eats. Has several video editing clients, many properties on Airbnb, runs multiple YouTube channels, and is the author of the best-selling book, The Anatomy of Financial Success. It's his mission to empower people with the tools needed to be successful. Now, welcome your host, the king of the side hustles, Elijah Bilel.
My fellow side hustlers, y'all probably heard like in the intro, but yeah, we have Rico from Hope Boy's Kitchen here. I'm actually real excited for this talk because even though we're on the Side Hustler Society podcast, where we most of y'all know he has a food truck, pretty successful one at that. We'll be talking about that. But this also presents a pretty interesting opportunity for the Veggie outers too, since it's a vegan food truck and it's the most popular in the Metroplex. And that's not just my quote unquote opinion. I think you've actually won an award for last year, 2025, right?
Yeah, 2024 and 2025.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
2 years in a row. And
yeah.
honestly,
It's
I
been
don't
a
see
blessing.
it'll probably be happening again in this year in 2026, right?
That's what we shooting for, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the goal, man. Try to do our best to continue to put out good food and product, you know what I mean? So
Right, right. So, how are you liking the weather right now?
I mean, hey, it is what it is, man. You know, you can't like you can't control what God has got going on. So, all you can do is an adapt and adjust. So that's kind of much what we doing. We shut down for the weekend because of the weather. So, hey, we'll be back out Tuesday. But I mean, we just gonna try to stay safe and stay warm, man, at the end of the day. So
For extra context, everyone, We're going through an ice storm here in the DFW. Oh, it was cold yesterday, but like it wasn't storming. Y'all went to sleep. And I woke up and y'all could hear like it's snowing outside. Now
Right.
we got the window. Like part of me is kind of hoping it wouldn't happen, but you know it happened. But I think that's one
Right.
of the benefits to some degree of being like self-employed because I know you're normally closed on Thursdays. You
Hmm.
since you knew this was coming, you put it out there like, hey, we'll be open this Thursday because a storm is coming. We'll be closed this weekend, but and we'll be open from, if I remember right, it was like 4 to 7, and
Yeah.
you can serve the people that day to kind of rebalance the scales, right?
Right, right. So I mean, yeah, that is the beauty, man, of being an entrepreneur. You having more power over, what you're doing. So I mean, yeah, you have the flexibility to, open and close, right? We have a set schedule, but because of the storm, we knew the storm was coming. So I asked the team, like, hey, are y'all willing, work on Thursday? And they was like, yeah, let's do it, and so we was like, let's let the people know that we're gonna be open on the day that we're normally closed, which is Thursday, and we'll be closed for the weekend because we already knew this was, upon us, right? So
Yeah, we've gotten. I'll say this and I'll move on because I've gotten labeled, nicknamed the Weatherman because I always talk about the weather in every show. I haven't done it in a while, so y'all can get off me. But I will say this: the DFW for the longest time would have like an annual snowstorm. It's like an annual
Hmm.
thing, and for the
Right,
past like 2 years, we've gotten off with not getting one. It might
right,
get cold, but no
right,
no actual sleet or snow would drop. So I
right,
guess this is just us going back to being on schedule. But I guess
right.
I just got spoiled since we didn't have one for like 2 years.
I
So
know, right, right, right. Yeah, man. So I don't miss them, okay? I don't miss them because it's just a bunch of chaos because people can't drive out here, knowing that this
they
this is
can't drive
coming
during
and
normal conditions, let
like,
alone snow.
so yeah, man. So I try to stay out their way. Yeah.
Right. But
So
yeah, going ahead and hopping into it, I want to ask you, when did Hopeboy's Kitchen, which is the name of your food truck business, actually open up?
we started. I actually started out cooking out of my home, man. We started in May of 2020 in the middle of COVID, right?
Uh,
So prior to Hopeboy's Kitchen, I was, I had went vegan like 2 years prior, and I was just kind of, chefing it up at the crib, right? Just cooking up, experimenting, things of that nature. My family, they were like, man, this is pretty good. You might need to start selling this. Da, da, da. I'm like, because my background is, I'm a truck driver, right? You know what I'm saying? I own a local dump truck and things of that nature, right? So I'm a truck driver, right? And so to get out here
mm,
to think that I'm finna start cooking for the public is was crazy to me, right? And
mm,
so I'm just, chefing it up at the crib and they like trying to encourage me to, hey man, you need to start selling this food. So I started doing like pop-ups, right? These cooking demos at a local rec center, right? And so we done a couple of those and then COVID hit and kind of shut all that down. And after that, I started selling guacamole, right? Out of my pickup, right? I would, you know, whip up a bunch of batches, everybody would pre-order guacamole, right? And I would go meet them at this local Target here in Dallas. And things just started growing and people started asking for hot food, man. And so I started cooking hot food from the crib and meeting everybody at the same local Target, man. We did that for about 18 months and traffic just was, going crazy. And uh, one of the security guards one night came by and like, hey man, y'all need to get off the premises, da da da, you
uh,
know. And I was like, man, like, hey man, I've been here, you doing this 18 months at this point, right? And he was like, I don't care what you've been doing for the past 18 months or whatever. And so me and him kind of exchanged words. And from there, right, that was the last, day I did that over there. And I inquired this food truck, bought a food truck, and had to get it permit. But during the time, I was just doing tons of pop-ups, man. People just coming out showing mad love like crazy, with the vegan food and stuff. And We popped up at this spot over here in Oak Cliff, 1300 South Polk, man, and we opened up January the 15th, 2022, man. Martin Luther King birthday, actually, just had
Oh wow.
celebrated our 4th year anniversary. So, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since, man. It's just been a blessing. So, but that's kind of just a little bit of the backstory how we got to, opening up the food truck.
Oh, that's powerful. You mentioned that you're the owner of a dump truck. Do you still have that, or do you rent that out, or did you sell it, or what's the story?
Well, I didn't rent it. I don't rent it out. Haven't sold it. I'm looking to probably sell the dump truck because I don't think I'm going back to get in the dump truck. I just what I do now is I just kind of some of the customers that I have from the dump truck business, I'll just kind of sub to work out, right?
Mm,
And so just kind of go from there.
gotcha. Okay, okay. Powerful origin story. So it's like by popular demand, you found yourself in the business that you're in right now.
Right, right. I think I fell in love with it, right? And so I think you like when you fall in love with something, right? I think it brings about a little bit more meaning to like what you're doing, right? You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to just do something just for the sake of making money, right? I could do that with the dump truck, you know what I'm saying? And so not that I really loved, construction work and things of that nature, right? I love driving. Now, don't get me wrong, but I can't say that I just really love, the construction field, right? Just because of all the other stuff that comes along with it, right? But when it came to this cooking, right, and whipping up vegan food, creating food that I hadn't ever even thought about, right? I just kind of became infatuated with it, got and fell in love with it, and one thing just kind of, evolved, right? It just kind of evolved pretty much what happened, and so when people were, showing support, right? And so I mean, if people are not supporting, I mean, there's no need to kind of, keep going forward with it, right? You know what I'm saying? But people just kept every week, man. We would have at least one or two new customers every week, man. For those 18 months that we were in that parking lot, we would at least have one or two. I don't care if it was 5 people that showed up, at least one of them was a brand new customer, right? So it was just that was the beauty that kept me going most days, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah.
Um, Kind of a small side tangent,
Hmm.
but you're the second person I've had on this season of the Sawdust Society
Hmm.
that used to drive a dump truck,
Hmm.
and then they become successful in an entrepreneurial capacity. First
Hmm.
one, his name is he's known as the White George, and our show was on like networking, and either it's
Hmm.
come out or will be coming out in the future. I haven't decided on what order it's going to be, but
Hmm.
yeah, he has about like 500,000 subscribers on Instagram, and
Okay.
he's starting a podcast. And this is someone that's networking with councilmen, like famous wrestlers, football players. And about 2.5 years ago, he was driving a dump truck.
Right. Right.
So I'm starting to wonder, is there
Yeah.
some kind of magic to driving a dump truck that gives you
Is
like
that the
entrepreneurial like
formula?
success?
Is that the formula?
It's got me wondering. See, podcast listeners, they're gonna be if you listen to me and George's podcast, you'll be like, I remember that. Now that's kind of
Right.
interesting. And if
That's
it comes out
funny.
after this, then you're gonna be waiting to hear like, well, that's interesting. Maybe I need to go get me a dump truck and just see
Right.
what happens.
Right. That's funny, man. That's
But
funny, but yeah, man, that's the background, man. So yeah.
so I've been wondering this, and I'm pretty sure there's a story behind it. But
Hmm.
what made you decide to name the business Hopeboy's Kitchen? What's the lore behind that name?
Let me see. I'm gonna give you, yeah, I'm gonna give you the Cliff Note version, right? I mean, but
Okay.
so uh over what 30 years ago, right? Over 30 years ago, right? I was a local drug dealer right here in DFW, right? Dallas area. And ended up getting locked up, incarcerated, spent 4.5 years in prison, came out, um, Honestly, right, people think that going to prison, you're rehabilitated and things of that nature, but really you're not being rehabilitated, right? You're just in there with a bunch of more criminals, okay, that are trying to think of ways to get over on the system, right? You know what I'm saying? When you really think about it. And so, with there not being any rehabilitation going on in there, and I came home, found myself on hard times, and ended up, getting back in the same drug game, right? Fortunately, this time, somebody said, "Hey, come go to church with me," right? You know what I'm saying? I was like, nah,
I'm good.
nah. I'm like, nah. You see the lifestyle I'm living, right? I'm like, nah, I can't do that right now. I'm not gonna play with God like that, right? And so, eventually, you know what I'm saying? They, continue to offer, right? And I accepted one day, right? Went to church one Sunday, man, and and enjoyed, listening to the word sermon, and people were nice, loving, accepting, right? Not knowing, they didn't know my story, my background, at the time. And so um ended up, man, joining church, man, and um fell in love with God, right? And I eventually stopped selling drugs. But while I was, starting up, in the church world, like I was still selling drugs, you know what I'm saying? And so eventually I left that lifestyle, man, threw all the drugs away, right? And gave my life to God, man, and that was, the end of the dope boy, right? Like as this shirt says, right? That was the end of the dope boy, right? And so
Hmm.
eventually fell in love with food, as I said, right? And started whipping up vegan food, man, and it just kind of hit me, right? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people that were in the church realm, right? Other people that I know, sickly, my mom passed away when she was 43, right? From cancer, right? Brain cancer to be more specific. My
Oh,
dad passed away from a massive heart attack at the age of 50, right? So the older and the closer I got to their ages, my mind just wasn't able to shake, right? Man, I need to do something different with myself. Even to back up a little bit, 13 years ago, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, right? High blood pressure and high cholesterol, right? And so I
mm,
changed my diet immediately after the diagnosis, and I reversed type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol in 7 weeks. I ain't say 7 months. I didn't say 7 years. I said 7 weeks.
nice.
Reversed it, right? Because I took it serious, right? A lot of people have a tendency to, get hopped up on these medications and drugs and things of that nature and think that it's going to cure them, but it's not, right? That's just a form, it's just a band-aid, really, right? To keep you in the same condition that you're in, right? And so I took it serious, man. Reversed all of that with dieting and working out, right? Just training my body and training my mind, right? And so after that, man, and I didn't even go fully vegan at the time, right? And I was just, I just took a lot of beef and fried foods and pork and egg yolks and things of that nature, sugars and sodas. I just took all that out my diet, right? I wasn't even fully vegan, right? When I
The heavy
reversed,
stuff.
yeah, when I reversed type 2 diabetes and all that, I just took some major stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Simple tweaks to my diet, man, and working out and reversed all of that. But the closer I got to, my mother's and my father's age, man, I was just kept researching, different diets and things of that nature, or just lifestyles, right? And veganism just kept popping up. I'm like, man, what is this right here, right? And so I just kind of started, I kept doing my research. Not that I hadn't heard of it, but I'm like, it was just in my research, it just kept
Kept being
coming
reoccurring.
up, right? I'm like, all right, let me dig off in here a little bit, right? And so just kind of started doing some research, looking at some videos, hearing some testimonies, stumbled up on Dr. Savy, of course, right? And Dick Gregory, and just a bunch of different people, right? That I would listen to, right? And so I'm like, wow, okay. And so I said, well, man, let me just try it for, about 30 days, right? That was my goal, right? Let me try 30 days. 30 days has turned into over 7 years, right? And so uh I was like, after the way my body was feeling after that, and not that I was already working out and I was in good shape, but when I went vegan, it just energy just went through the roof, you know what I mean? And so I was just like, nah, I'm not giving this feeling up. I'm not giving this the way I feel, this lifestyle up, you know. And so it's just been a blessing ever since, man. And I encourage people, you know, to at least try plant-based, right? You don't have to fully go plant-based, right? You know, but just try it, you know, tweak your diet, you know, if you know, got ailments, you know, do some research and tweak, see what you need to change up. But anyway, man, and that just came from, you know, the Hope Boy really came from me trying to help inspire other people, right? You know what I'm saying? So from a dope boy to a hope boy, right? I don't want to serve you drugs, dope, and things of that nature, right? It's gonna harm your body. So now I feel like God has called me to be of healing and a version of hope to my people, right? And so that's how dope boy to hope boy was, you know, birth, if you will, right? And so I just been trying to serve this hope, man, the best way I can. And God placed on my heart to, you know, do it through food, right? People do it through the pulpit, other places, right? Things of that nature, you know. And so God, I've been on the pulpit as well, but God has transitioned me to this food. And so now I'm doing it, you know, via vegan food, man. So and that's kind of where, you know, the hope boy came into play.
You know, I gotta say that's gotta be probably the most iconic like origin story for like a something in the restaurant slash food business. It really has its own origin story, and I do want to touch on something briefly because
Yeah.
it's something that I've seen because I've had actually a few ex felons on the podcast, and
Hmm.
they've managed to be very successful.
Hmm.
And it's got me thinking, like, because and this might get a little controversial. I'm not going to get
That's fine.
heavy
That's
into the
fine. That's
streets
fine.
or
That's fine.
anything,
Let's go.
but yeah, the same skill set that you're using to usually move a product
Talk
in the
about it.
streets,
Talk
it's
about
the
it.
same skill set that entrepreneurs use to serve their customers.
Talk about it.
And here's the thing, here's the bigger thing. I think a lot of people like, what's the difference between me and you? It might just be the environment we grew up in, but we
Hmm.
both had that desire to serve. And if we're going to be honest, I don't know about you, but I think I was always psychologically unemployable. The employee
Hmm.
model is not going to work for me.
Right.
And if people were just taught to know that there's an alternative, you can go
Hmm.
down this lane, serve people on your own terms. A lot of people would probably pick that path versus getting in the streets. It's
Right.
because they didn't know that path existed, or they saw there
Exactly.
was no way to enter it. Like it's
Absolutely.
either the streets or this job stuff, which that's just that life ain't for me. That's
Right.
why I'm really passionate about this podcast, so
Right.
people can see that there's another way, and they can direct that entrepreneur desire to serve energy in that lane and bring a lot of value to society and not end up in the streets.
Right. That's it. So for me, right, this is what I tell a lot of people, right? Um, even though I believe and trust that God changed my heart and the things of what I used to do, God didn't change my hustle. He changed my heart, but not my hustle. You understand what I'm saying? So, like that same mentality, that same hustle, that same go get itness, right? If you will, is still in me. That ain't going nowhere. So, to get out here and hustle, you know, this food, right? This restaurant to build it, it's gonna take some hustle, some grit, some grind, some sleepless nights. It's gonna take all that that I used in the streets. I'm using this restaurant now, right? You understand what I'm saying? So, like that hustle mentality, and I'm grateful, right, that it did not leave me, right? Because a lot of people believe, like, okay, when they give their life to God, okay, they give up everything. Just let Jesus
Right.
do everything.
Like
Let
throw the
God do
baby out with
everything.
the
Let, yeah, you know,
bathwater.
like,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. God allowed me to go through this specific background for a reason. It wasn't by accident, it was by design, right? So that look here, when you do turn your life over, when you do transform this mind, guess what? I'm gonna let you, you know, keep that same hustle into being a blessing to people versus, you know, you being harming, hurtful to other people, right? You know, now I'm use you as a form of healing and hope, right? And so that's the goal going forward, right? But didn't take the hustle, man. The mindset. You know what I'm saying? So that's I count it as a blessing, right? You know what I'm saying? I used to look at it as a loss and used to be down on myself, right? Used to be embarrassed to tell anybody that I went to jail, bruh. You know what I'm saying? For years. Like, and and eventually I started using it as a testimony, right? And so, because I just trust and believe that, you know what I'm saying, if God can do it for me, right? You know what I'm saying? I can do for myself, right? And God can do the same thing with somebody else, right? Sometimes some people just need that match lit, right? You know what I'm saying? Let that flame burn on, you know what I mean? Or even reignite that flame, So I think sometimes that's just what I'm here for, man. Just kind of keep people going, encouraging and uplifting them, letting them know, hey, it ain't where you start, it's how you end, okay? So
Hey, nicely put. Speaking of the food truck business, how much did the food truck actually cost once you finally needed to upgrade to a food truck since the parking lot in Target was no longer available due
right.
to, I would say, haters, but well, with city guys doing his job, but I can
Right,
guarantee
right,
the
right,
manager at
right,
Target,
exactly.
he was
Right.
definitely a hater.
Right, right. But hey, but it's hey, uh it's still all a part of my purpose, right? If you will,
Right.
right? That was, strategic even, so like what people think the door that they're closing, you know what I'm saying? There's another door that's opening, right? You know what I mean? And so if that wouldn't so I look at it like this right here. If they never would have kicked me off the parking lot, would I still be there, right? Let that
Yeah.
sink in a little bit, right? Like
That's a good point. But
sometimes you have to be kicked out of somewhere to even move, right? You know what I'm saying? So, like
I got
that's
I gotta say this though, real
come
quick.
on with it, come on with it.
It's a natural tie-in. I'm wearing my Veggie Outers merch because I
Mm-hmm.
think it's appropriate given what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But sure, I got to show on the screen. This is how I feel about the manager at Target. This is the merch for the Side Hustler Society. Hustlers gonna hustle,
Right,
haters gonna hate.
right. That's it, man. That's it. That's it, bro. Hey, let them do their thing, right? You know what I'm saying? While you gonna hate, I'm gonna elevate. You feel me? So go on and hate. Yeah.
But people, if
Yeah.
y'all want to get that merch, there's a link in the description and the pinned comment for you. Had to bring,
Already.
had to bring
Oh,
that up, but go ahead and get
oh.
into where you were leading as far as the cost of the food truck.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man, that led us into purchasing a food truck, which the food truck was initially was around about 20 grand, right? You know what I'm saying? And so we only have like a 8 by 12 food truck, right? Which is a smaller food truck. It's not even, a longer or a bigger, more roomy type food truck. So we maximize the space that we have in that food truck. And so that's not including the licensings and paperwork that you got to get through the city of Dallas, insurance and things of that nature, right? Which is a whole nother
Well,
thing,
that's
right?
actually let's talk about because I was going to ask that next. It's one thing what the food truck itself actually costs, but like
Hmm.
how much does it cost to like really start like a food truck business from scratch? Because obviously there's some administrative stuff you're gonna have to take care of, like food permits and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely, absolutely. So like you start out like even before you even get the food truck here, you're right. Like so a lot of people go buy a food truck, right? And try to, get it permitted. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Try to get it permitted, in a certain city, right? But it will be wise, right, for you to contact your city, town, things of that nature first to see what type of food truck trailer that they want permitted. Let's start there, right? Because if you go out and buy a food truck and you can't get it permitted in the city, and now you got to make all these modifications to it. Now you done spend another 10 grand on
So,
top of what you're paying for the trailer because you don't want to really have to relocate, right, to go to another city, so you're gonna pay what you're gonna make the modification that you need to make on this trailer or truck to keep it here in this city. So like that's the first thing you do is like, hey, contact this city, right, that you finna open up your food truck in, right, and see. the specs, right? You know what I'm saying? What I need to get this permitted, right? Fire department, all that type of stuff, right? So all that stuff costs, right? You know what I'm saying? So you're talking 2 grand in the city of Dallas, right? Just to get your food truck permitted, over 2 grand. Okay.
Mhm.
Like that's just the starters. That ain't including the fire department, right? Having your truck fireproof inspected. Uh what else we have? Blueprints, all this type of stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? So like there's so much that goes in it. And like even when I was getting my food truck permitted in the city of Dallas, they really didn't, well, food trailer, let me be more specific. They didn't really want to give many permits to the food trailer. They would give a food truck permit more fast than they would food trailer at the time, right? And so
Mhm.
they were it was even more difficult to get the food trailer permitted than a food truck. But we ended up getting it permitted or whatnot, and we found a location, found a home for it, right? And we've been there, of course, 4 years now. But as far as like with the paperwork, even when you're buying your food truck, even when you're purchasing your food truck, make sure that you're purchasing it from a establishment that is good with their paperwork, man. Because like dealing with the
Mhm.
paperwork, even though you done gave them folks all your money, right? And you still ain't got the registration and things of that nature for this. It can be a headache, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to wait on all that to take it to the city of Dallas, right? And so now with
Mhm.
that, time being wasted, right? You losing revenue in a real sense. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't operate the food truck properly, until all that stuff is permitted, assigned for, right? Food manager license, if people are helping you, right, make sure they got their food handler license, things of that nature, right, man. And so insurance on your, vehicle. If you got a truck like me, a food trailer like me, you got to make sure that you are, the a vehicle that you're using to pull it with, right? They're, tied together, connected, so you don't have no issues there. So it's just a bunch of different, nuances, right, and things of that nature that you kind of gotta, deal with and work with. But
Okay. When you got your food trailer, where did you get it? Like, if someone wants to enter the food truck or food trailer business, like, where's the first place they should be looking to buy one?
that they gonna have to do their own research. I'm not even gonna get the people where I got mine. I ain't gonna give them the plug, 'cause they trash. They
Go.
garbage. Yeah, it was a house. It was a headache, man. Even yeah, I don't even want to send nobody through that. You know what I mean? Like it was just a house. That's why I kind of paused and bagged up, right? As far as when
Gotcha.
they talk about where you getting your truck from or food trailer from, make sure that you do your research, man, because these people will, yeah, it's some crooked people out here, you know what I'm saying? And so like you have to kind of do your homework, do your own research. I'm not even gonna get a people where this food truck was purchased from. I ain't gonna give them a plug, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I would just say do your research.
Right. Like what I was kind of thinking is like nowadays it's kind of like a platform for everything. So I'm thinking there might
Hmm.
be like a platform. A good example is like Fiverr for like freelancers. How if you
Hmm.
need a service, you know what Fiverr is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so if you need a service done, you can go to Fiverr and find someone
Hmm.
who does that service. I
Hmm.
was wondering if there's something like that for like food trucks locally. Like, hey, these are people who are selling food trucks. Here's their information if you want to reach
Hmm.
out like more, about that. I was kind of wondering if there might be some kind of like directory that people could use. But
That I'm not sure, but that's a great question. I'm not sure if there is a food truck directory, food trailer directory, things of that nature that we maybe, you know, of course you can go on some of these websites, you can go on some of these platforms, Facebook, and things of that nature that, they was at Facebook Market, uh, things of that nature. But I would encourage you to first of all, go talk to your city or your town's permit registration place, because you need to
mhm.
know what type of specs you need, what what I'm saying, as far as purchasing this food trailer or truck. So
And they may actually know some reputable places that you could buy a food truck from. If you go to them first and you're asking about the administrative stuff anyway, you could
the
have your
the
last
the
question
city of
be,
Dallas.
yeah, no. Oh, that's not the case. Okay. Well, after
That's a whole nother headache, brother. That like, dude, I've never, bro, I've never seen anybody give you such a hard time, like trying to start up a business, right? Like, why are you giving me such a hassle? Like I
to
get
start
it,
anything
right?
in Dallas is
You,
a hassle.
huh?
Unfortunately, to start anything in Dallas is a hassle. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
man. So and I was gonna say like even to get your like food truck permit, right? The city of Dallas is like when I was getting mines, they were like the third toughest city out of the states to get your truck food trailer permitted in. The third toughest.
Oh, so if you can get it here, you can get it
This
almost
was 4
anywhere.
years ago. This was right. So if you can get your food truck permitted in the city of Dallas, you can damn near get your food permitted anywhere. Okay, food trailer permitted anywhere. Like they are that strict. They were like I don't know what they are right now, but I haven't done the numbers and research on them, as of late. But yeah, 4 years ago, yeah, they were like top three most difficult cities to get that food trailer permitted, my brother.
Well, I will say this: once you found out what you need to do on the administrative side and the
Hmm.
conditions that they'll take, if you're looking for a place to buy the food truck, this might be a hack you could use. Just type in ChatGPT, looking to buy a food truck. Are there any local uh, food truck directories that you can send me to? Maybe some
Right.
stuff will pop up, and then use Rico's method of like, obviously you need to find out if their paperwork's in order and all that stuff. But maybe
Hmm.
ChatGPT can bring up a local food truck directory,
Right.
so you can start making some calls and have some prospects on like where you can potentially get one.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna be an interesting one because I know you're currently kind of set up in one spot now, but in
Hmm.
the past, did you ever do like vendor events, like take your food trailer to events and get money that way?
Yeah. Like when I first started out, we would do events. Maybe when I first started, we would do about maybe two, maybe three a year. Like because um of the setup that we have, the location where I'm at, man. I didn't really have to move my food truck, right? And I wasn't out here trying to be greedy and just trying to, move my truck here, there, and everywhere. At the end of the day, I just kind of, wanted to build a nice little following. And I think I built that right through Facebook and Instagram and things of that nature, right? Before I even got the food truck, you know what I'm saying? And so
Mhm.
uh we fortunately, like we haven't had to just move it like crazy. But yeah, I've done Vegan Dale here, in Addison, uh uh Friendship West Baptist Church, other, churches that we've popped up at, but like I'm grateful, man, that we don't have to, just like move our food truck a whole lot because, people know where we are, they know how to find us, you know what I'm saying? And there's still tons of people that are unaware of who we are, right? You know what I mean? And so we'll just continue to build block by block every day, you know what I'm saying? And continue to put the word out, and then thankful and grateful for people like you, yourself, and others, right, that are advocating for, us and coming to patronize us and sharing the word about us. So, like, that's how we've continued to just kind of grow week by week, man. It's from, people like you, man, faithful customers, that love the food, enjoy the food, right, and enjoy the, customer service, the presence, you know what I'm saying, the interactions when you get there. So, like, we don't take it lightly. We don't take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? That we don't have to go from place to place to place, right? In order to, make a living. You know what I'm saying? So it's a blessing. So
Yeah, I think it's important that when you got the food trailer, you weren't
mhm.
technically starting from scratch. You already
Right.
had
Uh,
a
yeah.
loyal customer base, and that really laid the
Hmm.
foundation. Because,
Hmm.
like the veggie outers, for instance, like I want to say for the past 2 years, every few
Hmm.
months, someone we go to restaurants and review them. We've never actually
Hmm.
been to a food truck before,
Right.
But they would keep asking me like, "Hey Elijah, have you tried Hopeboy's Kitchen out?" It's like, "Nah, I haven't tried it out." And
Mhm.
they would ask, "Hey, have y'all thought about going to Hopeboy's Kitchen?" I had to tell them, "Well, we don't really go to food trucks." And I kept hearing that. I was like, "You know what? Is it on the way home? Now next time,
Right.
let me just swing by." I went there one day and just kind of tried it out, and I did, and it was awesome. And I really do like the
Appreciate
setup that you have because like where you're set up, that group of benches is like
it.
right in front of y'all.
Yeah.
A group of people, it could probably accommodate. This is me taking a guess, maybe 25 people, maybe 30
Yeah.
people,
Yeah. Yeah. Up.
and
Yeah.
it's just very accommodating. You can eat your food there and enjoy nature, or you
Right.
could grab it to go and go ahead and go home.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the beauties of the setup, man. Especially on a beautiful day outside, right? Where, the heat ain't scorching, or, the wind and the cold nature is not, freezing you to death, right? It's a beautiful setup out there, man. People can come out and they do it all the time, right? I mean, it's a gang of people, they come out and they just sit out and enjoy nature, enjoy the weather, right? And enjoy the food, music that we're playing, right? We try to set a whole vibe, right? When you're coming there, like it's bigger than just, serving food and things of that nature. We want people to have, experience, right? When they come to Homeboy's Kitchen. And so even the area, the location, right, where we are is more strategic than anything, right? I didn't want
I
to
was
go
gonna
to
ask
North
that.
Dallas, right? I didn't want to go to Fort Worth. I didn't want to go. No, I wanted to go to a spot where number one, there's a food desert, you know what I'm saying? Like to where people ain't got a whole lot of options to this vegan food, right? You know what I'm saying? There's more around the area now, but like we first got there, like there wasn't, there was maybe like one, maybe two spots that were right, close to us, right? You know what I'm saying? So even in the location, it was more strategic, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to be able to serve, my people, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like my motto is like my people deserve healthy options, right? Sometimes a lot of black and brown folks don't even think that they deserve or can afford healthy options, right? You know what I'm saying? Something that's going to maybe prayerfully and hopefully expand their life expectancy, you know what I mean? And so they have a tendency of, want to just stay hopped up on medication, things of that nature, right? And I tell people all the time, I say, you can either pay on the front end or you can pay on the back end. But one thing you're going to do is pay.
And one is gonna involve pain and one doesn't, so it's an easy sell for me.
Right. I know, right.
I'm just saying.
Exactly. 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 You got it. You got it. Right. You got it, man. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So like let's touch on that location for a sec. So like
Okay, go
what
ahead.
analysis did you use when picking that location? Now you mentioned that there was a food desert there, but I can't imagine that you just happened to pick a place where those benches were right outside, right in
Right. No,
front of
no,
you.
no,
Like I'm
no,
pretty
no,
like
no,
what
no.
variables did you consider when picking a
No,
location?
check this out, right? That the building right there, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a
That,
brewery.
that
It's got a
brewery.
bunch of yeah, it's got a bunch of different suites and things, right? We did an event there, right? Uh Maybe 6 months prior to us popping that location, right? So we're up there, and I was doing Frito pies at the time, right? I had a gang of Frito pies, right? We just up there, we just boom, people just coming, 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 right? And so the person that was hosting was like, hey, I want to introduce you to this lady, right? And so she introduced me to her. She was like, hey, have you ever thought about, purchasing a food truck? And I was like, I'm glad you asked, right? I've already purchased a food truck. I'm in the process of getting it permitted right now. She was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. And so she was like, what do you think about this location right here? Would you be interested in, maybe coming here and setting up, or another location that the property owner has, da da da. And I was like, I actually like this, little location right here, nice little setup, things of that nature, da da da. And so she was like, "Is it okay if I, pass your number along to the owner?" And I was like, "Nope, yeah, bet, right?" And so the owner calls me up, because that was like on a Friday. The owner calls me up the next Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And me and him talked, right? And he was like, "Hey, man, um, Man, I wish I could think of her name right now, but I can't. I'm drawing a blank. But she called. She gave me your contact information. She was like, "You got a food trailer, and we're looking for a food trailer over here at this location." And I was like, "Word." And he was like, "Yeah." And so I was like, "Well, man, at this particular time, I'm getting my food trailer permitted. It'll probably be about another 4 or 5 months, because this process seemed like it's taking longer than it should." And so he was like, "Well, hey, tell you what." As soon as you get it permitted, let me be the first person you call, and I'll get you set up, and we'll work out the numbers and things of that nature, right? As far as payment, leasing, things of that for the lot space and all that. I was like, well, bet. And so I
Mhm.
told him, I was like, hey, calling back like 3 or 4 months later, like, hey man, truck is trailer is fully permitted, and we ready to roll. You know what I'm saying? Are you still up to, having us over there, on your property? And he was like, yeah. He was like, hey, can you make me some food, right?
So it sounds like you needed you in more than one way.
Right. And so I was like, man, say less. And so I took my trailer over there to his office or whatever, man. And I whipped him up some food over there, and boom, 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 burgers and tacos. And, he ate, right? And he was like, man, it's really good. Da, da, da. And he's like, man, when you think you can move your trailer over, right? And I was like, man, you tell me when, right? And so he's like, man, you can move it over the day if you want to. And so, and so like the next day, man, I got my little stuff together, man, and went and set up, man, and parked the trailer over there. And we've been there ever since, man. And it took, I think it took us like a couple of weeks or whatever, right, to kind of get everything set up like we wanted or whatever. And then we popped open, January 15th, as I said. But even in that location, if it would have been somewhere up north or somewhere I just feel like was not um fitting as to who I wanted to serve, like I probably wouldn't have went, I probably wouldn't have started there, you know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
was I was more looking for somewhere down south, you know what I'm saying? Oak Cliff, South Dallas, things of that nature, right? You know what I'm saying? To set up so I could, properly serve the people that I love and have a heart for, you know what I'm saying? So
Well, strategically, I can tell it's definitely paid off because, like, yeah, I get your Facebook updates, and you
mhm,
put your hours that you'll be out there, and oftentimes, maybe an hour or two before it's time for you to close shop, you'll say,
mhm.
"Hey, that's it, man. We sold out." So, like, you're selling out. Clearly, that tactic has paid off.
Right. It's been a blessing, man. I never would have thought like May 20, 2020, like that we would be even here with this food thing, right? Because even that first weekend, man, when I was selling food, and I know I'm going back, selling food from my home, right? Um, I was just like that weekend, I was like, hey, if I can just sell 10 plates this weekend, I would look here. I'm good, right? That'll be a great start for me. Well, that was for Saturday and Sunday, right? So, well, that Saturday, I end up doing 9 plates. And then the
Mm.
following day, the Sunday, I did 9 more plays. So that was 18 play. I'm double what I was expecting, right? And so, so, so from there on, man, it was just like up, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's just been a blessing, man, ever since, man. And so when people, you know, find a place where they can, come grab good food, good grub, you know what I'm saying, good vibes. I think that's a good recipe for, people to continue to come back, right? Because it's going to take like those loyal base customers that are repeats, right, to come back, you know what I'm saying, and to continue to, hold you down, you know what I mean? Like I tell entrepreneurs all the time, business owners or whatnot, like we claim we're the boss, right? But if we have no customers, no clientele, no people to serve, like who we the boss of?
The
What?
air.
Huh? Like, like so, like at this point, like it hit me years ago. I'm like, who's really the boss, right? They really the boss, right? You know what I'm saying? We just wear the hat. You feel what I'm saying? Because like if they're not showing up,
Yeah.
crickets. yeah, ain't nobody showing up, then like you can claim you the boss, but like the reality is like you finna go out of business, right? You know what I'm saying? So like it's a blessing, bro. You know what I'm saying? For people to continue to show up, week after week after week, man. And people come from, when I say people come from everywhere, bro, like no lie, no cap. Like when I say people come from everywhere, bro, like people travel from everywhere to come to Homeboy's Kitchen, man. And I just never would have thought. Like we talking about people coming from Tennessee, people coming from
Ooh,
uh when people come in town from New York, when people come in town from California. We had this one couple, they flew in from London,
wow.
and they was like, we couldn't wait to stop over here. I said, wow.
So
So
you
like
didn't go on, you didn't pass regional to national and now national to
like,
international.
like if I don't say nothing else, right, I can say that I've served somebody that's international, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's been a blessing, man. Like to just you never
You know
would
they're gonna
think,
run their mouth once they done tried
right?
you
You
back on the other
feel me,
side. Like,
man? Yeah, man.
hey, sir, I experienced Hopeboy's Kitchen. It was the best thing I've ever
Yeah, that
experienced.
with that, yeah, that right there, yeah, yeah. But it was cool, man. It was a cool experience, man. It was a cool experience. So,
Wow. So like when you got your food trailer, did you
hmm
finance it or did you get it in cash?
well, it's interesting, right? Someone had purchased the food truck, right? Food trailer,
Mm-hmm.
parked it, never used it. But I knew them. I was close with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, hey, uh, they were like, hey, man, you still looking for a food trailer? I'm like, bro, yeah, I'm looking for a food trailer. And so he was like, hey, I'm finna sell mines, man. I called you first. And so I just bought it from him, right? And the beautiful thing, man, about this brother and myself and our relationship, like I said, man, I ain't got no 20 grand to give you just right off the top. Like I don't have 20 cash, right? He was like, hey, give me what you got, and I'm gonna trust you to pay me out. I said,
Mm-hmm.
what? He's like, give me what you got or what you can afford. He said, give me what you can afford. And man, over a year. I paid him off in like 9 months. Every little penny I got from, because I was still driving. Oh yeah, I forgot that part. I was still driving my dump truck and cooking food at the time, right?
Uh,
I'm doing, I, I, I'm doing
damn. So you
both,
must
bro.
have some 80-hour weeks.
Easy, like easy, bro. Like 80 hours easy, dude. Like, yeah. And you got to keep in mind too, though, that the food truck wasn't as busy as it is now, right? You know what I'm saying? The dump truck business was way more lucrative than the food truck is right now. So like
Mm-hmm.
I was using all the cash that I would, get from my dump truck service, you know what I'm saying? Any extras and things of that nature, I would put it toward the food trailer. I would make a payment toward the food trailer. So, the reality was, I used my dump truck business to pay for the food trailer. You know what I'm saying? And so, a
Mm.
lot of people, they'll jump out here, and just like, oh, I'm gung ho, I'm finna jump, I'm finna go buy this, right? Well, I'm not, and they already got a job, right? And they just quit their jobs or whatever the case may be. I'm not a huge advocate of that
Mm.
personally, right? Because I feel like you could use where you are at this point to furnish, pay for your dream, the business that you want to start. Why not use their money? If you can put up some money, put the money to the side without getting a loan, right? Depends on how big this business that you're trying to, start up. You know what I'm saying? If it's a nice little startup business, take the money, any little extra money that you got, invest it into what you're trying and where you're trying to go, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did with my food truck. I don't owe anybody anything, right? You know what I'm saying? I pay for my food truck, in a timely manner, you know what I'm saying? So like, but I was working both at the time, you know what I'm saying, until it got to the point to where I couldn't do both anymore. You know what I'm saying? It was too stressful, right?
Hmm.
I would get in my truck, go to work, come home, straight cooking, sell food, come home, dog tired. Did that for like 6 months. I did it for like 6 months, and it wore me down. Wore me down.
So the food
Um,
truck started off as a side hustle technically until it became the full hustle, and then you
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you got in the beginning, the food trailer could not pay for my livelihood, couldn't pay for my lifestyle right at that time, right? You know what I'm saying? And so like the dump truck and the food trailer, in itself, right? They kind of, I married them together, and and I use the dump truck to help furnish the food truck, and it kind of balanced itself out. You know what I'm saying? It's helping me pay my bills, take care of my family, things of that nature, right? And so
Mhm.
without having to go get a loan or anything like that, to start up the business. So
Yeah. Plus, I imagine your margins were actually pretty favorable since the food truck was paid off. Like if you finance the
absolutely,
food truck, part of what you're making is going to have to go towards the payments. And it's just
absolutely.
like if you could avoid that scenario by just, I guess, staying up. I'll say stick with your primary source of income, whether it's a job
Hmm.
or another business like
Right.
you, but use that to pay off the food truck. Then the
Hmm.
margins will get bigger, and it just makes
Right.
more sense. But if you start
Absolutely.
off with small margins, it's just you're setting yourself up for a potential quagmire.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So like, yeah, and that's kind of, that was the approach I took once I, paid off the food trailer. I was like, hey, let's take the wheels off this joint, right? And then at that time I was only working on the weekends too, though. Let's keep that in mind too. I was only doing Saturday and Sunday at the time. And so
Okay, okay.
yeah, so I was only doing Saturday and Sunday at the time. I wasn't open 5 days a week like we are now. So therefore, that income, what I'm saying, was going to be a little shorter than if I was working 5 days a week, regardless, right? So, but yeah, we expanded, to Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We started out doing Saturday and Sunday, and then we added on Tuesdays and Wednesday evenings, right? And so from there, that's kind of when I was like about to get burnt out, right? I'm trying to work 4 days a week on this food truck and 5 days, 6 days a week on the dump truck, and it was just like something had to give, and so I mean, I just followed my heart, followed my passion, trusted, like, God, hold up now, let's look here, like some got to give. So I was just like, if this what you want me to do right now, if this how you want me to serve the people, let's go. And I let go. I mean, it just made sense, you know what I'm saying? And so here we are today, man, just continuing to just try to serve people, the best way we can, trying to be, creative, but also having some of those staples that people love, enjoy, they can come eat them every day if I would put it on the menu every day, you know what I'm saying? So it's a blessing, man, that people continue to support us, man, and show mad love.
Indeed. You know, this is actually a great tying into this question. So, like most people, when they start a food truck business or food trailer business, it starts off with just them, and then
Hmm.
things can start rolling, the ball can start getting rolling, and
Hmm.
eventually they're going to get overwhelmed, and they need to
Hmm.
hire someone else to help them out. At
Right.
what point do you feel like if someone is starting a food truck business, at what point did you feel that okay, I gotta bring someone on to help me out? I'm gonna have my first employee or contractor or whatever. I can't handle it all by myself. At what point did you reach that? How did you measure that?
Let me let me let me bag on up then a little bit, okay? Let me bag
Okay.
up a little bit. So before I even opened the food truck, right? Because like I said, like I had a nice little following before I opened the doors to my food truck, right? I
Mhm.
I when I first started, my wife, my son, right? They was in, look here, we was in this house like
It's a family
dancing, you
business.
feel me? Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we was in here dancing, peeling jackfruit and all, you know what I'm saying? Putting all this stuff together, right? They because I needed help even then before I got to the food truck, right? To put all these plates and stuff together. Cause we would have sometimes like 50 and 60 orders, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't do
Dang.
all that by myself. Right. When I say the parking lot was jumping, the parking lot was jumping. Okay. Like so like
No,
so it ain't
this
like
seems so stupid thinking because like if people are coming for to get food from you,
Mm-hmm.
most people are going to end up going into Target to get beverages too. So it's like
Yeah.
y'all were helping each other out. And then
Right. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
almost
yeah, yeah,
feel
yeah,
like,
yeah.
let me
Don't
follow
even,
that.
don't even, don't even, yeah,
Yeah.
don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But, but no, no. So okay, but when we got ready to open the food truck, right before we opened the food truck, it was a lady named Camille. She used to come to the food truck, right? And she was like, "Hey, brother, like, hey, if you ever, decide you're gonna get your food truck, da da da, I'll be more than willing to help you."
Mm,
Say less. Okay. She got experience in this industry, right? Because she worked for another food truck, right? And so she had some experience with it, and all this type of stuff. So it was like, hmm, I'm gonna keep that, tucked in my pocket, right? And so purchased the food truck, and maybe a month or so later, right, I was like, hey, she came to get food because I was still working in the, out of the Target parking lot. And she was like, hey, I said, hey, I just bought a food truck, about a month or so ago, and you still willing to, come out and, help, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, yeah, 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 you just let me know when you want to start up. And I was like, all right, say less. So the closer we got to it, maybe like a few weeks prior to, I was like, hey, I got everything permitted or whatever. You still good to go? And she was like, yeah. So me and her actually, started working together. So I had help going in. I never worked on the food truck by myself a day in my life, man. I
okay.
just felt like it'd have been a disaster, man. Like just me trying to run the window, and like some people are set up that way, right? And and they can do it, but as far as the way that I prepare food and the way we, presentation with our food and things of that nature and trying to run the window, it just I just and we already had a nice following, as I said, right? You know what I'm saying? So we already knew, going in, like one person can't just run this, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need some
Yeah.
help to even, consider going into this. Like it'd have been a nightmare trying to do all that by myself, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, we started out, you know what I'm saying, and then I added on young lady named Zen, and she been rocking and rolling with me for over 2 years now. And of course we've had other people. Now we got a nice little three-man crew with Lacey. So yeah, we got a nice little trio on there, man. And we we go hard on that, man. We
We
had
rolling.
we had we had a trailer rocking and rolling, bro. So it's been a blessing, like, 'cause it's hard to kind of just find good people that are, wanting to come in and work. You know what I'm saying? That sometimes we're at a high level, man, high pace, and you got to be able to keep up. You know what I'm saying? And so they know how I want things done. I know how they like things as well. You know what I mean? So it's like we are family off in there. You know what I'm saying? And so we on one accord. Now, don't get it twisted. We be on there fussing and fighting and cussing and yeah, like don't don't get it twisted. It ain't a day in paradise every day. It's just you learn your partners. You know what I'm saying, and you learn those that work for you, work with you, right? And you look here. At the end of the day, ain't no hard feelings. This work, this business. You know what I'm saying, and so we have to have that mentality. Like, hey. Number one, y'all got to know who the owner is. Okay, I'm the owner. Okay, I am the owner. So like the final decision is gonna rest on me, because like the complaints, guess where they gonna rest on me, not y'all. Okay, so that has to be kind of established, so that like when we are look, hey, okay, that's enough. All right, but it's like it's good to have somebody, a team that you got good camaraderie with, man. You're not in there mad at each other, fussing and fighting just because or whatever. Like if you ever seen the show The Bear, right? That's
Gotcha.
kind of it'd be like that off in there, like, but at the end of the day, you got a job to do, man. And so we got a service to provide. And I try to tell, them, or anybody else that, is employed by Hope Boys Kitchen, like the attitude or the things that you got going on the outside of this trailer, don't bring that in here, you know what I'm saying? Because we're not giving that to the people, you know what I'm saying? So I take that serious. Like if you got some issues or something that you can't deal with, prior to getting here, or you can't maintain or handle while you're here, then probably best don't come in today. You know what I'm saying? So, because we don't want to give off that bad negative energy to, the customers and things of that nature. So,
I see. You
yeah.
know, this is actually a good question. So Hopeboy's Kitchen has like a rotating menu, right?
Right, right.
And some people might be wondering, I've actually wondered myself,
Hmm.
what made you lean towards a rotating menu versus having I won't just say a standard normal menu, but at least
Hmm.
like there's something that's always on the menu, like some menu
Right,
staples.
right,
What made
right,
you
right,
lean
right.
towards the rotating?
Number one was like coming in, I was like, before I started the food truck, I was like, man, I got so much stuff. Like, I mean, I got so much stuff that I cook, right? Like so
Hmm.
many things that I like to cook, so many things that people like to cook even prior to me opening up the food truck, right? And so I was like, man, I ain't got enough space to cook all of this stuff and store on this food truck. Let's start there. I don't even have enough storage space for a full menu that I have, okay? Right. And so I didn't want to limit people to just 4 or 5, maybe 10 items on my menu, right? You know what I'm saying? I just feel like we're bigger than that, right? And that's probably why it's kitchen versus just a Hope Boys food truck, right? You know what I'm saying? Because eventually, yes, we will have a full-blown kitchen where we can serve everything that we have to offer on the menu, you know what I'm saying, each and every day. But at this point, like I felt like it was beneficial for us to just kind of rotate the menu to so that people can have various options, right? Because some people don't like to go eat the same thing every day, right? You know what I'm saying? And so I felt like, okay, well, what if we give them an option to eat this day or something around this, right? Taco Tuesday, something, you know what I'm saying, based around
Hmm.
tacos, burritos, enchiladas, chimichanga, right? Look, yeah, and then Wednesday we burgers, things of that nature, right? And some other type of special. Fridays based around fish and things of that nature, right? And Sunday kind of soul food and whatever, right? So Saturday, and so just kind of give people a variety, right, throughout the week, since we cannot store everything that we have to offer on the food trailer, right, at this present time. Like, so I felt like it was best, for us to just kind of have a rotating menu so that you got a variety. Like, if we ain't got it today, guess what? Maybe you catch us tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? If not, then catch us the following day. So like that's the whole concept behind the rotating menu for us.
You know, so would you say I just connected the not dots on these because I know inventory management is very important for a food truck
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
And it sounds like having a rotating menu could be one of the ways to balance that issue. Because if you have too much or too little of something, but you have a rotating menu, well, you can manage to get that food made, and it's a great way to test new things, see how people
Hmm.
respond to it. And if that's
Hmm.
popular, well, we'll do that more often.
Absolutely. I mean, all of that was included into this concept, right? You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
like this gives me the opportunity, as you said, to try out new foods. If they like it, guess what? Okay, we can put it on the menu somewhere, right? You know what I'm saying? If they don't, guess what? I ain't got to go back to it. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Like, and so I can't say that everything that I've put out like was a smash, was a hit. You know what I'm saying? Like some of this stuff is trial and error, and like I gotta understand like what I feel like is my best menu item may be somebody's worst menu item. You know what I'm saying? And so and I don't try to get hung up on like this I'm the best title, right? You know what I'm saying? Because that's still subjective, right? You know what I mean? Because like somebody can think my food is bomb dope. Somebody else can think my food is trash. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's perception, right? That's subjective. So like I really don't try to run around talking about, oh, we the best, we the best. No, no, it ain't even about being the best. It's can you put your best foot forward to serve the people that God has called you to? Right? Because like at the end of the day, who's gonna come to Hope Boys Kitchen is gonna come to Hope Boys Kitchen.
Mhm.
That's at the end of the day, right? And it ain't really about being the best, right? Because somebody else can do. run circles around me. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else can, you know, prepare this better than me. Like, and so, and that's fine. You know, it's just, do you, are you doing the, am I, or are we, right, as Hope Boy's Kitchen, doing the best we can do, to serve the people that, God has called us to serve, man, at the end of the day, So I just try to stray away, from that best. Yeah, you get awards and things of that nature or whatnot, but that's fine and dandy, but I'm not hung up on that, right? Because some people, what's your shirt, what's your apparel say? Like, what it say again? The hustlers
Oh,
and the
hustlers
haters,
gonna
like, you
hustle,
know
my
what I'm
haters
saying?
gonna hate.
So like, that's
I
so
should have wore the
that's
product for society where suddenly it's seeming more relevant to this
so
conversation.
so that's just kind of what it is, even with that, but it's that was about the rotating menu. That was kind of like the concept of that, what I'm saying, so we could give people different options, or if an option that we put out is it failed, right, or it wasn't up to our standards, guess what, scrap it, you know what I'm saying, go back to the drawing board, you know what I mean, but I try to make sure we can give people, and then it'll keep people, because let me say this right here, let me say this here, we're open 5 days a week, right now.
Hmm.
We have people that will come to that food trailer every day we're open. Why?
Wow.
Because they can get a different option every day.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
because
like
like
if I
with a
just
standard menu, if someone does visit you every day for a month, quite
hmm
naturally they're gonna try everything on the menu by default.
exactly.
And that this stuff can happen when you're serving vegan food because a lot of people are changing their diet and they haven't learned how to cook
hmm
yet. They need
Exactly.
somewhere in the
Exactly.
meantime, and they pick
Exactly.
you.
Exactly. And so like, and I don't claim to be this vegan chef, or a restaurant to where we are, just hell bent on serving these uh what do I call them, like gung ho vegans, right? You know what I'm saying? When I say that, I mean like like the one, they just all whole foods. That's a blessing, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like where we are, we're a platform to try to introduce people to this vegan lifestyle, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes, we do have processed food, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like at this point, at this stage, I'm just trying to get as many people in to live a better and healthier life as possible. You understand what I'm saying? Just thinking about it, changing, right? Your mentality about a more healthier lifestyle, right? And so sometimes we're just that platform to open up the door, to open up their minds to like, oh, I can eat vegan food, right? And when they, want to make a transition or maybe, go deeper off into their vegan walk, guess what? They can go to, what I'm saying, places that just, sell whole foods and things of that nature, right? And that's a beautiful thing, man. Like it's beautiful, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't, people, sometimes like, hey, you got processed food, da da da. I mean, like, you want to go eat the pork? What you want to go eat the beef? I mean, I mean, like, so I don't even try to,
Every
get off
every
into that.
place, every type of food has its place in the vegan marketplace. And
Hmm
like, we'll go into this later because I do have something to say about that, but I'll briefly say it now.
hmm
Like the type of food you serve has a place because it's a great transition into the healthier foods. But
hmm
I don't think that people should be going to every single vegan restaurant, coming to them like, "Hey, why don't you serve raw food vegan options?" It's like,
Yeah.
well, that's not the place that he wants to serve in the marketplace. Go
Right.
to a raw foods vegan restaurant
Yeah,
if that's what you want.
exactly. Exactly.
But
So,
places, people like you who are serving that transition role are very
mhm.
vital to creating more vegans and people who are plant based, or even people just eating less meat in general.
Exactly. That's yeah. That's the goal, right? That is one of the aims. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like, if I did a poll, right, I would say that most of our customers, right, if I had to do a poll, maybe probably I would say maybe 60 to 40, right? As far as 60% of them are not vegan, right? Maybe even high as 70, right? You know what I'm saying? That
Mhm.
are not plant-based. And that's fine, right? Because some people, guess what? They just want good food. Okay, some people just want good food, man. You know what I'm
It's
saying? And
called
so, and
spade a
that's what,
spade.
right. So that's what we just try to provide, man. We just try to provide some good food, man, and just pray that and hope people, enjoy it and hope they enjoy their visit when they come out to Hope Boy's kitchen, man. So,
Right. So I'm swinging back to the actual truck itself, not the food truck, but the truck itself. Obviously, a food truck is like a vehicle. If someone is getting a food truck or a food trailer, what are
mhm.
some things that the owner should stay on top of when maintaining the trailer or the food truck? Because like any type of vehicle, if you're not maintaining it, some things can sneak
Mhm.
up on you. Then something goes out, and this is going to be
Right.
something that's going to directly impact your income.
Right. So like your vent hood, right, which is, where the air and circulation is being ventilated out of the truck, like when you're cooking, because you got fumes that you can't see, right? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
like from the fryer, right? From the grill, there's fumes that are coming up and smoke, right? So like those things, the vent hood and things like that, they need to be properly cleaned and maintained so that it doesn't uh be have to be repaired more frequently than it needs, because I mean everything is man-made, so like some of the stuff is just gonna break just because, right? And
Mhm.
so but if you can keep it properly maintained, it'll be less 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 costly to you, right? Another thing, plumbing, right? So we're in a winter storm right now, right? So with these food trailers and food trucks, right, we don't have like these massive big pipes and and things of that nature, right? Some of these food trucks have very thin pipes, right? And if you keep the water in there, right? And they freeze, they're gonna burst those pipes, right? So even when it comes to certain plumbing, like flushing out your truck, right? When I say flushing out your truck, I'm saying release all the water out of your pipes, right? And so when it does freeze up, as it has done, it's gonna be frozen for 80 plus hours, right? You don't need that water in those pipes because it's gonna do number burst, right? I made
Yeah.
the mistake when I first got my food truck, my food trailer. I didn't release all the water out of there because I didn't think it was gonna be that serious, right? And so got back to my food trailer, water was everywhere, right? You know what I'm saying? Because the pipe burst, right? And so had to repair that, even to start back operating. Thankful in that instance. We were off that day and I was able to fix it myself, right? You know what I'm saying? I was able to fix it, in a few hours myself. So it's wise to be sort of handy if possible, know how to work on some type of plumbing, you know what I'm saying? Your AC unit, it can go out, you know what I'm saying?
The blue collar skills.
Yeah, so just have some knowledge of, your propane, because like most of those food trucks and food trailers are running off of propane generators. Make sure you got a nice generator that will power up your food trailer or truck, because if you don't have enough power, some of that stuff like the venter hood, lights, um, uh faucets, some of the outlets. I mean, because it doesn't have enough power, it ain't gonna work, right? And so we have to, kind of, be mindful of that when we're, dealing with food trucks, food trailers, just keeping up proper maintenance on that type of stuff. If you're moving all the time, make sure that you keep your tires properly checked. You know what I'm saying? Check your tread, check your air pressure, suspension underneath. Make sure that your suspension is still intact. Your tow hitch, if you have a food trailer, make sure that your tow hitch is properly inspected, don't have any, your frame doesn't have any cracks, things of that nature. Keep it locked up. Buy your tow hitch lock, you know what I'm saying? Because people will run off with your food trailer, okay? They will hitch up, lock up to it, hook up to it, and pull it off. Okay, and you won't know where. So try to
And
protect your investment, the best way that you possibly can. What else am I?
I can only
Um,
imagine you just go to the restroom. Let's say you're in there longer than normal, and then you come out
mhm.
and your stuff is gone.
Yeah, like so, that's the thing. Like even for where we are, right? You know what I'm saying? We've had maybe two instances where somebody, tried to break into the food truck, right? What they're gonna get out of there, I don't know. I mean, ain't nothing in there but some pots and pans and knives and forks, and I mean, that's all you're getting out of there, okay? Like, so we don't leave any money or nothing like that in there, you know what I'm saying? So like, but just if they're gonna try to steal it, I mean, they're gonna, you're gonna get the whole thing. I mean, that's the only way you're gonna probably have some value. But like pulling stuff out of there, like you ain't, because all the fryer, all that stuff bolted down. Like, you know what I'm saying? The grill, so like there's not much of, if you're talking about, going inside and, trying to steal something and take something out of there, there's not much in there. But if you taking the whole trailer itself, okay, yeah, you probably, so just kind of properly keep your stuff, locked up. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. So I know you say you don't need to do vendor events because your location's working out so well, but if you do any type of events, is there some
mhm.
kind of analysis you do to decide if it's even worth it to go? Like you already knew the
Absolutely.
vegan deal would be
Yeah,
worth it, but yeah, like what do you
yeah,
do
yeah.
when deciding that?
So for me, if I'm moving my trailer, number one, I have to count up the cost. Is it worth it, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we've been where we are so long right now, people look forward to coming there,
Hmm.
right? And we're the only vegan place there, right? You know what I'm saying? So I have to be mindful that like if I move my trailer, people that are not looking on Facebook, social media, things of that nature, right? Instagram, TikTok, if they're not looking on there and they don't know that we done moved for the day or the weekend or something like that, they're gonna come to, oh, where you at? Da, da, da. He going out of business. You know what I'm saying? So I have to even be mindful that when I move. But number two, like, how much money am I gonna make if I'm moving this trailer, right? Because like for me, if I'm not making, at least $1,000 or $2,000 more for me to move I mean, why am I moving my trailer? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because now I got to make the hassle to hook it up, take it over there, bring it back. You know what I'm saying? Just which is a hassle in itself. So I'm privileged and I'm blessed not to have to move my truck, you know what I'm saying? But no, it would just definitely have to like make sense, right? So I even have a minimum, right? You know what I'm saying? If you're asking me to move my food trailer, at this point, like I just can't, I'm not gonna just take a risk, you telling me you're gonna have 500 people in there, or show up and only 20 people show up. Like, no, I don't have time for that. Like, you know what I mean? So it has to, be worth our while, like to even move the truck, bro.
Gotcha. Um, well, maybe we'll have to talk later this year because I go to a monthly, not a yearly event called Vid Summit for content creators, and they
Hmm.
have food trucks outside, and it's hosted at the Urban Convention Center,
Hmm.
and there's never a vegan one, and that always annoyed me. And this is an event where like easily like maybe 1 to 2,000 people are coming through. People are
Hmm.
flying in for this event, and it's a three
Right,
day event.
right.
Um, and I know some of the speakers, and I don't know how much they charge, but if I
Hmm.
find that information out, I can run it by you, and if the numbers make
Right,
sense, that could be
right,
a pretty lick. Plus,
right, right.
yeah, we'll definitely have to talk about that if you're open
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, 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 yeah. We can talk about it for sure. Yeah, you know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, I would say the next thing, and we're gonna start winding down in a sec because I know you probably got some stuff to do today, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I'm gonna hang out
So,
with the family a little bit, man, and try to, chop it up with my boys and wife, and so yeah.
yeah. So I asked this question under duress because my audience would kill me if I don't ask, but they're gonna ask about like the Benjamins, like whether it's weekly or monthly or annually, like how much does this food truck business tend to pull in?
That's a good question. So the for us, right? You know what I'm saying? For us, we do well. Like we do anywhere between 7 to 10, right? You know what I'm saying? So we do about seven. We do about seven a week, which is good. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not. We didn't start there. You know what I'm saying? We started out about 700 a week, okay? Right. And so we've had to, we've had to gradually kind of, just grow and evolve, right? And continue to just put in the hard work, man. So it's it's really based upon like the individuals, right? You know what I'm saying? How much work and the quality of food, right, that they're putting out, you know what I'm saying? The atmosphere that people are stepping into, you know what I'm saying? So like for us, we do about, about seven, but like you probably gonna start out in the negative. Like this, like there's some weeks, right? Months, like I ain't made a dime. Like, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I done lost money. So like I don't want, people to think that, you get out here and and it's gonna just be peaches and cream, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you gonna have to put in some sweat, blood, and tears, like to even get your any business, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah.
the standards, and the financial position that you want it to be in, right? And we're always looking for ways to grow and evolve, you know, uh, the business, So, but um, there was many days, many weeks, like I was like, "Golly, I don't know if this is gonna work out, like, you know what I'm saying, just numbers wise, you know what I'm saying, because it just wasn't, it wasn't fruitful, if you will, right? So we just started, doing some tweaks, right? Changing some things up, and sometimes that's the best thing for all of us, right? Is change. So we changed some things, tweaked up some things, right? Not so much as far as recipe wise, but as far as like concept wise. So um adding new things on the menu, so it just kind of help, boost revenue and things of that nature, right? But um it's I would say it could be a very lucrative business, you know what I'm saying? But you gonna have to work, right? I think food trailer is probably one of the toughest business models out, like as far as when it comes to this restaurant business, because you gotta think about like this is thing that people don't think about commuting with the food, right? All of the food ain't on that food truck, right? A food trailer. So you
Hmm.
gotta go prep it at a commercial kitchen, right? Cook what you can cook there, prep what you can prep there, transport that to the food truck. Do more prepping, do more cooking, right? Loading, unloading, right? Then you got to offload, like when you get off work, right? You can take it back, you know what I'm saying? And then you can, so it's like so much time invested, right? When it comes to this food trailer life, you know what I'm saying? Food truck, right? So it just kind of depends on the size of your food truck or trailer, you know what I'm saying? How much you can store on there, right? So like it's just variables, man. The bigger your food truck is, right, the more space you'll have to probably prep, store, things of that nature, right? But for us, we have a small 8x12, so most of that food is prepped at a commercial kitchen and uh, brought to the transported to the trailer. You know what I'm saying? And we finish our final preparations, and most of our orders are cooked to order. You know what I'm saying? So like we we do a lot of cooked orders. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's some form of pasta, potatoes, things of that nature. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much cooked to order, man.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I will say that that's all the questions for the Side Hustler Society. But I do have some questions from the Veggie Outers, just like two or three, not that many.
Okay.
So now I'll say this, Side Hustlers, you don't have to tune out, because one thing I'm pretty big on nowadays, this health thing and this wealth thing are interconnected. Okay. Like,
Hmm.
if you want to eat the healthiest, you need to be making some money to afford those options. And
Right,
if
right.
you're making the money, like you said, either you're gonna pay on the front end or the back end. I'd rather pay on the front
Mhm.
end. So stick
Right.
around for this segment. In terms of, I guess, this health and wellness segment for the veggie outers, for the right price, would you cater to like a private event by any chance?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do some catering, right? Actually, you know what I mean? We do a lot of catering, right? I mean, I just don't advertise, a lot of catering and things of that nature. But yeah, we do a ton of catering and stuff like so. Yeah, so for like private events, things of that nature. Yeah, we have a catering, menu, or if they just want something more specific, right? You know what I mean? That they know we specialize in, they can be like, hey, but all of that, we a phone call away, you know what I mean? I'm very accessible. So like you can reach out to me, private events, yeah, we do private events, all of that. So yeah.
Okay. And we got into this a little before, but like, what's your opinion about like just the plant-based marketplace in the DFW right now?
The plant-based marketplace
Yeah, or
is
just like
for
the state of veganism in the Metroplex, like whether it be businesses or just like just anything that comes to mind.
Man, I think like here we really have a nice space for vegans to reside. Let me say that because like there's a ton of spots here in the DF Dub, right, that can cook vegan food, right? You know what I'm saying? We have a nice vegan scenery here, you know what I'm saying? All of us have, our different styles and the way we prep and prepare food. But like I think we have one of the largest, let me say, not let me not say largest, but I think we have one of the better options of vegan food on this vegan scene in the US, right? Because like we got some people that can throw down and like as far as like with even when you're talking about like um purchasing, right, because there's another thing, right, like you can't just go anywhere to even purchase like vegan food, right, as far as vegan products, let me say vegan products, right, like to
Mhm.
cook. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's more accessible, now in certain grocery stores and things of that nature, right? You know what I'm saying? But you even need to have, a plug, if you will, right, on certain items to even prepare, right, for your if you got a vegan food truck or vegan restaurant, you know what I'm saying? So just those type of things, man.
Mm.
I think that we're growing here at a rapid number of veganism. You know what I'm saying? People are transitioning here in the DFW like crazy, and I think like it's a blessing that we're making it easier for them, you know what I'm saying, to make that transition, you know what I'm saying? We're giving them flavorful, tasty, vegan options that they can enjoy, you know what I'm saying? And so I think we have a beautiful thing going here, you know what I mean? If someone moves here, and we get it all the time, like people say they're from, Oklahoma, they're from, California, they're from you name it, right? The West Coast, East Coast, and they like, man, we 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 got vegan spots there, but they don't taste like this, right? And they shouldn't, right? I mean, because there were two different, mentalities, two different chefs, two different atmospheres, right? West Coast, East Coast, South, like we just do stuff different regardless, right? And so it's that type of stuff, right, even that keeps us going, right, as a restaurant, but I think we have a beautiful thing going here, man, in the DF Dub as far as when it comes to this vegan lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? So
Okay. And as someone who is able to reverse a lot of diseases that you mentioned before, let's
hmm
say someone is looking to clean up their diet and they specifically want to try this vegan lifestyle out.
hmm
Most people they start off. Well, most people in America, I hate to say, they don't know how to cook in general, let alone
hmm
prepare vegan food. So,
right.
you got any advice you would give a fresh new vegan prospect that just went vegan like yesterday? As far as like, hey, I want to be able to prepare food that doesn't taste like I don't know melted wheat bread.
Cardboard.
That's even worse.
So man, I always encourage people to try things that you're accustomed to eating. Let's start there. Who doesn't like a nice burger, right? Who doesn't like a nice taco, right? I mean, who doesn't like, certain soul food, mac and cheese, things that, I mean, certain so it's like what I have a tendency, what I try to tell people, right, is that all you're doing is rotating or alternating out the dairy products. You don't have to switch up the seasonings and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Read the labels. If it has some animal byproducts in there, like, okay, you can't use that. But for the most part, like, seasonings are vegan. Okay, for the most part. 90% of seasonings are vegan, okay? Like,
Another way to look at that is if you've seen that show Naked and Afraid, these are people that are actually going out on TV and like killing the animal and eating it raw.
hmm
So
yeah,
unless you're gonna do like them, most people aren't gonna do that. They're putting
right.
plants on their food to give it flavor. So all you
Exactly,
gotta do is
exactly.
just not use the meat.
Yeah. So it's like, you find, different meat substitutes, right? Because I think that's one of the most difficult things as far as, the meat substitutes and the cheese, right? Is the most difficult things that you're gonna kind of run into. Like, what do I sub, for pulled pork? What do I sub for fish? What do I sub for chicken, burgers? You know what I'm saying? So like it's that cheese, right? What do I sub, because we all have different taste buds. What's, your best, option, taste, and things of that nature, right? And you kind of go from there, you know what I'm saying? And so you get in there and you toil around like the rest of us did. Like none of us started out like full, well, I ain't gonna say none of us, right? I didn't start out a full-blown chef, right? My mother was the chef, you know what I'm saying, of our family. You know what I'm saying? Anytime we went somewhere, they wanted my mother to cook. I didn't put that together till I went vegan. That it was already in my DNA. My daddy was ice cold on that pit. He was he was ice cold on that grill. You know what I'm saying? So like I didn't realize all this till I went vegan and I started cooking. I'm like, "Dang, my daddy used to, throw down in this area. My mama, she was just cold with everything, right? You know what I'm saying? And so it's in my DNA, you know what I'm saying? Which I think matters as well, right? You know what I'm saying? Some people will just not ever know how to cook. I said what I said. Okay?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think we
I'm
can all do a
sorry.
bit better, but yeah.
So it's just about, man, just trying to get in there and and just figure out, read your labels, see what tastes good to you, right? You know what I'm saying? Because if you're trying to cook for yourself, at the end of the day, it's what tastes good to you. You know what I'm saying? What your palate enjoys, right? So just sub out, the meat substitutes. You got various things. You got jackfruit, you got mushrooms, you got uh Beyond Me, you got Impossible Meat, you got all kind of stuff right here. You know what I'm saying? That you can kind of, make transitions. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about figuring it out the way you like it. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to figure that out, you know what I'm saying? Guess what? We can serve you at Homeboy's Kitchen.
You know what? Let's not even go ahead and whisper. Let's go there. Let's make people's mouths water and send them Homeboy's kitchen. So like, what's your most popular item on your menu? I know it rotates, but
Oh,
obviously you have something that's
oh
yeah.
man, I think our top sellers are the burgers, the shrooms, fried shrooms, and the tacos, right? Those are like our top sellers. The birria tacos, those things sell like crazy, you know what I'm saying? The fish, the shrimp, sell like crazy. The mac and cheese, I mean, that stuff, the burgers, they said those are top tiers, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the spaghetti, like top tier, like even on Fish Fridays, that fish and spaghetti, you just they go crazy with it. So like,
I
you know,
personally
the but
vouch for that smash burger. It's the bomb.
yeah. So like that's right. Our Big Smack, because that's the burger that I started out with, the Big Smack. That's like the Big Mac, right? The vegan version of the Big Mac, right? And so I took that and I just, veganized it, you know what I'm saying? And so uh and that was the only burger that I was selling at first, and so shoot, that thing it took off, man. I was doing like 30 and 40 of them jokers on a Saturday, right? You know what I'm
God dang.
saying? So and that's why I needed help, right? Okay, so but anyway, like, we just kind of evolved, man. Even before I, started with the smash burger, man, I was playing around, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I need to get this smash burger down, da da da. And I made a video, right? And I was like, man, I'm not just gonna put out any kind of smash burger. I'm gonna make sure that it's, mwah, chef's kiss, right? You know what I'm saying? And so I toured around with that thing for about a month or so, man. Like just trying to get the flavor profiles that I feel like when you bite into it, is it gonna and so played around with it, man, put it out there, and the Big Smack was here, and now that smash burger is, yeah, that's like our top selling burger now, that smash burger. And the chopped cheese sandwiches, yeah, but yeah, man, we just try to do what we do, man. That's all.
So let me ask you this, then we'll start
Yes.
winding down.
Okay.
In your opinion, what's the most underrated menu item on the menu or entree? Like you
Mhm.
feel like people are sleeping
Mm.
on this. Like I think this should get more attention. Like
Oh.
with you being the creator.
Ooh. Dang it. Ah. Most underrated. I would have to say, man, I don't know, maybe our enchiladas, man. I don't know. Because I used to do them all the time too, like, and I don't know. But I love them, you know what I'm saying? Like I think like and maybe I need to put them back on the menu a little bit more. But yeah, I think those are like was some of like the most underrated, but that's I
Okay.
love them, you know what I'm saying? So I love them. Like and another one is the our smothered steak, right? You know what I'm saying, with mashed potatoes and stuff. Like I think that's more, underrated than I would have to say that one is kind of more underrated too. But I mean, but sometimes it just the smothered steak it'll take off like so. But sometimes I can't tell, man. That's why I like to when I come on and I'll be like, we done. I don't know what the people gonna do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like like I
People are
prepare
fickle.
enough food, right? To like I as much time as I'm allotted, I prepare my food, right? You know what I'm saying? Not trying to hold back, skim. No, as much time as I have to prep, boom, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm bringing to the trailer, right? You know what I'm saying? And so when we out, we and sometimes people just go crazy over one item, and sometimes they go crazy over all of it. So like it's just,
Okay.
it's just, it's a blessing. It's a blessing and a curse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it used to be all pretty and fun, like, walking out there and like, oh, we sold out, yeah. But now, like, when you have people traveling, an hour, 2 hours away, right? And they like,
Um,
what do you mean? What do you mean? Like that do something to me now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, man, I'm sorry. Like I call us, right? You know what I'm saying? Please, like, if anybody is traveling like an hour, 2 hours away, man, call. Like, so that we can at least know and we can inform you, like, hey, don't come this way. Like, don't travel to it. We ain't got enough to hold for 2 hours. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, but now, like, I'm like, I got to get out here and make this message. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of where we are, man. It's a blessing. Like I said, it's a blessing and a curse. Cause I don't be wanting to, like turn people down, turn people around. You know what I'm saying? I want to serve everybody. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, like where we are, we don't have that capacity. You know what I'm saying? And keeping up with the demands. It's a blessing though. But we do what we can, man. We do what we can.
Right. All right, so we're gonna start winding down. I always ask my guests if they have a question that they want to hit me with, whether it be about the side hustle, well, really about anything. So, Rico, do you have any question that you want to hit me with?
Let me say this first of all, y'all. I'm gonna tell you your following. That's what I'm
Okay.
gonna tell your following. I didn't even know this guy talked. Let's start there, y'all. I'm finna tell on him, okay? This dude comes to that trailer and he is so quiet. Like, I did not realize this dude could even talk like this. And so when he was talking about this podcast, I was like, Elijah? Like, nah, nah, this man ain't said, more than 3 words, right? So I'm like, you're just so mild mannered, right? And you have this, you're reserved, right? And you always observing and you're looking and you got this look about yourself. So I was like, nah, this dude got to be lying about this podcast. This man can't talk that long, okay? He can't. so so but no, man, I didn't, Elijah. Like when I told him, I was like, Elijah? They even said, they was like, Elijah. Elijah. I'm like, yeah, he
And
said he got a
who's they?
pod.
Is they your staff or
Yeah,
okay?
my staff, yeah, on the trailer, right? Because I mean, we never really, like, you never really just talk a lot or nothing. Like some customers, they come and they just talk, right? You know what I'm saying? You come, you observe, you looking, you get your food, and and you keep it moving, right? And so, but that's why you can't judge a book by its cover, right? You know what I mean? But
That's
man,
hilarious.
I appreciate, just, running into you, man. You're a good brother, man. It appears, you got your head on your shoulders, right, man, and that you really out here trying to, serve, the people the best way that you can. And man, we don't want to, take that for granted, man. So we appreciate, what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You out here grinding, out here hustling, you out here informing people, about vegan lifestyles, entrepreneurship. So, what made you like get into like trying to what inspired you to inform people about or even grab knowledge about veganism or just entrepreneurship as a whole, man?
Mm. Well, I need to answer in a way that kind of everything is like in a box. You
Okay.
know, Elijah literally means messenger. That's what
Mm-hmm.
the word means.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to say that I'm a messenger for change. I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
sure about astrology, but my moon is actually in Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign that is agent for change. We
Mm-hmm.
combine that with the word Elijah. I think that kind of summarizes everything I am because I see the flaws in systems. And as far as the veganism thing goes, I saw that when I went vegan, I assumed that I was going to be cooking and preparing food the rest of my life. I didn't even know
Mm-hmm.
there's such thing as a vegan restaurant or a vegan food truck. Or I didn't know for my first 3 years, like literally.
What?
Yeah, and like I assumed, okay, well it's over. And but here's the thing: there were only like
Wow.
3 vegan restaurants when I went vegan. I've been vegan from over 13 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was like
Wow.
you described like a veganism desert. That's why you picked that location. But this whole metroplex was kind of like a veganism desert
Right.
to a small degree. So I've seen where it came from the beginning, and I started the
Mm.
Veggie outers. I'll keep it short because a lot of people have heard the origin story before. But
Mhm.
essentially, a lot of people had an interest in veganism, but they just didn't know what to do. They didn't even know about vegan restaurants themselves.
Right.
And I said, well, why don't we just go to a vegan restaurant and y'all can try this vegan food out while y'all interrogate me about like how am I vegan? Because it actually started when I used to work at Amazon.
Hmm.
People would see my lunch, and my
Hmm.
lunch would be kind of eccentric. And there are no restaurant. This was in the urban Capel area. Ain't nothing out
Right.
there,
Yeah. Right.
especially
Right.
back then.
Right.
And they would see like these recipes I make, like quinoa sushi wraps, like almond ice cookies. Like they're just like, what in the world is that? Then they wanted to
Right.
try some of it. I let them try some of it. Like, man, it's
Right.
pretty good. So they were
Right.
starting interrogating me about like, well, where you get your protein and all that stuff, because they couldn't say I was weaker than them because I was better than most people there
Right.
on the line. It's manual labor. So
Yeah.
eventually we went to a restaurant to try the food out while they interrogated me, and that evolved into the veggie outers.
Gotcha. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. I didn't realize you were vegan 13 years. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you must have started when you was what, 10?
No, I'm gonna be turning 34 next month.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, okay.
But yeah, I did
Hey,
start when I was fairly young.
yeah, 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 you did. Yeah. No, like we have a ton of young vegans come to the trailer too, man. And that just kind of warms my heart a lot, man, to like see young men, like yourself, young women, right, in their teens, early 20s, right? We have kids, right? They vegan. Like my son, my oldest son, he's vegan, right? He's been vegan for about 3 years now, you know what I'm saying? And so
Hmm.
um it's just a blessing, man. You know what I'm saying? To just see young people take their health serious, you know what I'm saying? And so I appreciate, people like you, you know what I'm saying? You out here, showing love and you're standing for something, right? You know what I mean? When you could be doing a whole lot of other things out in life, man, so we appreciate your light, your testimony, your message, Elijah. We appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? So keep being, a light and a messenger, for the people that God has called you to serve, bro. For real. Yeah.
Appreciate it. But speaking of serve, feel free to share your Facebook page, your IG, and also you mentioned before, but so people can hear it again. Where
Okay.
is Homeboy's Kitchen set up so they can swing by, give you food to try? Yeah, because I
Absolutely.
personally vouch for it, but look up his reviews. They're pretty lengthy.
Appreciate that, man. Hey, fam, we are Hope Boys Kitchen, of course. I'm the owner, Rico Alexander. Uh, we're set up 5 days a week, 1300 South Polk. That's in Oak Cliff, Texas, Dallas. Uh, there's two different addresses, sometimes depending on what platform you go on. It's 1300 South Polk, or there's 1317 Tyler Street. So it's just on the opposite ends of the parking lot, which you would enter in. But we're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. Days and Wednesday evenings from 5 to 8 p.m. You can find the menu on Facebook at Hope Boys Kitchen. You can also find us on Instagram, Dope Boy, the number two Hope Boy. And you can find us on Instagram, Hope Boys Kitchen. So just look us up, man. And we have, a lengthy menu that rotates, and y'all can catch us, man. You know what I'm saying? We out here just trying to slang the health out of this vegan food, man. That's what we out here doing, man. Appreciate the love and support, y'all.
Most definitely. Y'all be sure to check him out. We're going to leave links to his Facebook and Instagram in the description and also the pinned comment. We appreciate y'all tuning in for this episode of the Side Hustler Society podcast. And we also put some veggie outers in there because it was relevant. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm or wherever you're watching. Greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review about how you felt about it and what you found the most intriguing. That being said, we'll catch you on the next episode. Like I say in every show, be safe and be profitable, everyone.
This episode may be over, but your hustling journey has just started. Visit thesidehustlersociety.com to access all links and resources mentioned in the show that will help you on your hustler's journey.